So at this time of year, you know, I've screamed this from the mountains. It's the best time for produce, particularly the best time for tomatoes. And tomatoes have such a small window that this August, September should really be centered around enjoying fresh tomatoes while you can. I've been doing all these pastas and I couldn't help but thinking, could I make weekday sauce but with fresh tomatoes and still make it relatively quick so you're not doing a lot of work to make somewhat of the same thing but with fresh, delicious, sweet cherry tomatoes. And so that's what we're gonna do today. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take beautiful, fresh cherry tomatoes. Now these ones, the sun golds, these are the best. And so what we're just gonna do is throw these in the oven, a little salt, pepper, olive oil. I've got 4 cloves of garlic. These are gonna go in the pan too. We're roasting them, so don't worry about the amount of garlic. It's gonna be more subtle. And then a little bit of fresh basil. We're just gonna roast these guys until they pop and they release their juice, their skins open up, they start to get wrinkled, at which point we're just gonna smash them with a little potato masher, throw them in a pan, cook up some pasta, and finish it just like weekday sauce. So this is a great way to sort of use a pint of fresh farmer's market cherry tomatoes. I'm gonna just use a pint, which is gonna make enough pasta for about 2, and if you love pasta, I guess 1.5 servings, depends. If you wanna make this for 4 people, I would use 2 pints and just double all the ingredients. So there we have it. Quick and easy recipe, variation of weekday sauce. I got a lot of great feedback from weekday sauce, so if you like that one, you're gonna like this one. So let's just get right into it. So I have, what is this? An 8x8 Pyrex glass baking sheet. This is what I'm gonna use to roast the tomatoes in. I anticipate there's gonna be a lot of juice that releases, so something like this is gonna be maybe better than a sheet tray, although you could use a sheet tray. Pyrex is good. If you're gonna make a double batch, then use the longer one if you have. But this is something you should invest in. Pyrex is always good, whether it's like baking dishes, pie dishes, anything like that. It's good stuff to have. I'm just gonna go in with the tomatoes straight in. They don't fit now, don't worry. They're gonna smush and you're gonna be able to squeeze them all in eventually. I'm gonna take the garlic, just in their paper, I'm gonna throw it right in. Just like enough olive oil to coat. Maybe 3 tablespoons. Definitely season them with salt. Pepper. I'm gonna go pick some basil right now from my basil plant. Beautiful stuff. It's going in here too. This basil plant started really small, but by pruning it properly, I was able to create this big bush that I can now have as much basil as I need. The way to do it is when you see these flowers starting to come, that's what you don't want. That's kind of more of a bitter leaf. What you want to do is pinch that piece off right there. So the flower has taken off, but now you have 2 new sort of stems that are gonna create more basil. So you keep doing that. Whenever you see a flower, you want to pick that off. So now when I want to harvest some basil, I'll just make sure I'm picking off a piece, knowing that there's going to be able to regenerate more right here. So like say I want this piece, I pinch it off, and then there's 2 more to grow. Stems and all. Now mix it all up. You almost want to get that basil underneath it, or else it'll just basically dry out and break and become brittle and crisp. You want it to stay nice and fragrant while these cook. 450-degree oven. Again, it's probably going to take 30 minutes maybe. I don't want you to worry about time so much whenever you roast things. I don't ever time them. I'm always just paying attention and using my senses. Is it soft? Is it browned? Do I not want it browned? You know, you make these decisions in advance and then you control what's happening. Don't let the food kind of take control of you. So I'm just throwing this in. I'm gonna give it a peek every now and then. Make sure that they're releasing their liquid, they are softening up, and it's just gonna make it easy for me to smash it. Not gonna use a food mill. We're gonna keep it a little rustic so the skins are gonna be in the pasta. If you don't like that, feel free to run these through a food mill once they're done cooking. And then you can get a same sort of consistency as weekday sauce, just with fresh tomatoes. And it's really easy. Otherwise, we're just gonna go rustic for this pasta. So this goes into the oven. And we're just gonna watch it while it's in there. And it's just gonna tell us when it's done, basically. Tomatoes bursting, bubbling, everything's soft, smells and looks delicious. I'm just gonna get my pasta ready. I'm using this rusticella di Bruzza pasta. You wanna see a cool trick? You ever see a utensil like this, and it has this hole in here, and you don't know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. It's supposed to measure 1 serving of pasta. I've used it. It sort of does a good job. I mean, it is 1 serving for somebody who has a small appetite, but if you have a bigger appetite, probably not gonna do it. Probably need a double serving. But I'm just gonna make enough pasta for 2. And 1 more of these is probably gonna get me there. So that's my 2 servings of pasta. Measure it how you want, split the box in half, but I just thought you should know what this is. It's sort of worthless, but that's the answer, that's why it's there. So I want to take out my garlic. I'm just gonna peel it open, drop in the roasted garlic. That roasted garlic is softened and it's not gonna be intense, and it's gonna be sweet and delicious. I'm also gonna try and get some of that basil out, because that basil is no good and we can add fresh basil when we cook the sauce. And then I'm just gonna take a potato masher. I'm just gonna smash it all up and form a sauce. And then the pasta water is gonna be added later, and all of that stuff's gonna help create this tomato sauce. It's really quick, easy to make. Now, like I said, this is a chunky sauce. It's got skins in it. If you don't want that, you can blend it. You could run it through a food mill, remove the seeds and the skins, and you're good to go. But again, that adds time and steps. And part of the beauty of this recipe is you just kind of throw some tomatoes in a roasting tray, roast them up, mash them up, toss some pasta in, and you're done. So all we're gonna do now to finish it is throw this into where we're going to combine the pasta and the sauce, which is just this little pan that I sort of always use for pastas. Sauce is going in. Now I just got my pasta, I've got my Parmesan cheese, I've got my sauce in my pan ready. I'm just gonna cook the pasta till it's about a minute or 2 under al dente, or a minute or 2 less than the package instructions. I'm gonna transfer it over into this pot, which I'm just gonna kind of get on the heat. Let that cook for a minute right before I throw the pasta in. When I go with the pasta into the sauce, I'm gonna add some pasta water. And if this starts to reduce, or just get absorbed by the pasta too much, I just keep adding pasta water. Make sure I have enough sauce to generously coat all of the pasta. And then we're just gonna add some cheese, some fresh basil, and then we're done. So let's get this on the stove and finish it up. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Now this is a great version of weekday sauce to make in the summertime, especially August, September. This isn't necessarily the thing you're gonna wanna make in the middle of the winter. with just regular conventional store-bought cherry tomatoes. This really is supposed to accentuate the beauty of the produce this time of year. These cherry tomatoes are so sweet and delicious that it's got all the flavor right there. We just need to roast it. That roasting enhances the flavor. It enhances the flavor of the garlic. You can barely even taste it, but there's sweet, subtle garlicky notes. It formed a beautiful sauce. It coated the pasta just the way a normal sauce would. It's perfect. It's simple, quick, easy. It's delicious. That's pasta for you. It's another way to cook regular tomato sauce. And if you like weekday sauce, this is right up your alley. That's a yummy one, guys. Go ahead to your local farmers market, support your local farmers. Get some of those cherry tomatoes. You just need some cherry tomatoes, some garlic, some oil, some basil, and some pasta. Not a big shopping list. I'm not asking much of you. Very simple stuff. I promise you're gonna enjoy it. By the way, I'm sure you could do this with regular sized tomatoes. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thanks to all my patrons scrolling on the screen. I love you all. That's all I have today. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.